following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hi, I'm Christine.
And I'm Janice.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit.
Hey,
thanks for being here today. You know, I think I need to change a little of that lead in where I say, and this is the show where we talk about, the truth about online dating. It's so much more than online dating now. I think that this podcast has really evolved and trying to help people find themselves and, find happiness within themselves. And then, also about finding love, if that's where you are. And I'm kind of doing a lot of stuff for, women lately too, just helping women, with certain women issues and topics. We got some of those coming up.
Well, maybe it could be the truth about building a relationship with yourself and others in 2022.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. So I'm excited everybody's here today. Thank you. I am exhausted. Hey, Phil. Phil is
awesome.
with us today. Woo, woo. We love Phil. So Janice and I do this clubhouse on Wednesdays, and I missed yesterday. I was working.
You had a long streak, though. You hardly ever miss. But.
I know. Yesterday, I was working as a chef, doing teaching a cooking class with my friend Denise, who's a chef. And so I thought about you guys while I was there.
We talked about personality pitfalls in yourself and in dating. So we talked a little bit about red flags. We talked a little bit about narcissistic traits and tendencies. We talked about what to look for before the date, on the first date, as you're getting to know someone. And it was great.
That's cool. I'm sorry I missed it.
Well, next week we're talking about best and worst dating advice we've ever heard.
So. Oh, I'm sure I have a little of that. Today's episode, we're talking about intuitive dating. And I'm going to, I think, start out by saying that it took me a long time to really come in tune with my intuitive abilities. Mm-hmm. Like, it's really about trusting yourself and trusting your instincts and your thoughts, your feelings, because, it's about being in tune with listening to what your instincts are telling you.
Yep.
So with dating, for me, it's, my friends and my daughters used to always say that, I was a player.
I've gotten that too.
And it's not necessarily that I was being a player, wanting to settle down or not wanting to find somebody, because I do, and I did. But for me, it was always learning and trusting my instinct to know that it wasn't the person for me. So then I'd go next, going on to the next one, just keep looking, keep trying, because it's all about, keeping that going. What about you, Janice?
Well, I think that I'm someone who's very, very, very in tune with my intuition. I make decisions daily based on it. But the only thing I will say is when it comes to love and dating and romance, I actually tend to try and use my head a little bit more than the gut feelings that I'm having, just because I know the power of chemistry. And for me, the chemistry can often be disguised as, an intuitive yes, when it's that you have chemistry. And so I've had to be really careful about that and try and use my head more in this one aspect of my life.
Nice. I think it's about understanding who you are and what you need and want. It's really knowing what you're wanting to attract into your life, and are you following this sexual drive? The guy is hot, and the
and
make
it
out
feels good to be
section.
around them.
Yeah, everything felt so good.
Right.
Are you following that, or are you following real instincts that are like, oh, okay, what is this person really like? What does this person really do to you besides turn you on?
You feel good, yeah. Well, and these are, as far as like what you want and what your boundaries are and your needs, wants, desires, these are all things that are a little more, cognitive.
Yeah.
And so I do think it's important to be clear on some of these things so that you don't let your, the chemistry, take you away when, before you stop to think about compatibility.
Yeah, I agree. So when I was looking into, talking with this guest today, I really wanted to kind of get a feel for what I thought, the world thought intuitive dating was, or what the description of intuitive dating was. And really, I found in all of my investigative work, it's the ability to connect with the relationship you went. Oh, let me reread that. Intuitive dating is the ability to connect with the relationship you want before it comes into your life, and then to attract, recognize, and sustain it when it does. So basically, it's you're working to put yourself in a headspace where you can potentially, where you can find your potential mate, and what they represent, and what they bring to the relationship. So I think that was really important to know for myself, because I really have been working towards putting myself in that right place to find my person. And then when my person came along, I recognized it. I saw it. And there's been times that I've actually had to take a step back and go, wow, this is moving really fast. I'm experiencing things very quickly. And, is this right? Is this wrong? And I've really had to stop and sit back and think, I just have to trust that I know where I am in my life. I know who this person is to an extent.
But don't you think there's a bit of rationality that you've gone through with, what does he have to offer? How does he treat me? What do I want? That type of thing. That's not completely guttural.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's trusting and knowing that I am in a better place, that I'm attracting different people.
Gotcha.
And those people who I'm attracting, Sean, shout out.
Hey, Sean.
That embodying those things, that it's not about sex, that it's not about the chemistry 100%. It is there, the chemistry and everything, but it's about how are we relating? How do we communicate? What do we have in common? So all of our core values we have in common, and then I'm trusting that I've found myself in that place, that we're communicating correctly, and that he's the things that I've been really looking for, and vice versa, Yep.
I think intuition is a lot about self-trust, and it sounds like that's really where you're at with this, is letting that guide you.
Yeah. So today we're talking to Ariel Hubbard. I just did that off the cuff, so hopefully I said her name right.
Wait, is it Ariel Hubbard?
Well, for a second there, I thought, oh shit, I probably said the wrong last name. Nope, I got it right. Ariel Hubbard. Let me read what her long list, because she's well versed in this stuff. I love her. By the way, I did a reading with Ariel a few months back. She did a tarot and psychic reading with me. And shit, she was good. She told me some things that I thought she was full of shit. And then it turns out they came true. And I had to call her and tell her, I'm sorry, I thought you were full of it.
Lovely.
I love it. So she is actually a registered clinical hypnotherapist, a Reiki master. She is an empath psychic and licensed massage therapist who has been involved in holistic healing since 1988. Ariel is also an educator, a speaker. She wrote a book. She's an author. And she's a mentor for empaths. And I got to tell you, I had a mentor for myself as an empath, and it was the greatest thing I have ever gone through. It really honestly saved me, and it helped me a lot. She's a spiritual seeker. And oh no, I'm sorry. She's a mentor for empaths, spiritual seekers, and medical professionals. And her book, which is about to be released, is called "Empowered Women's Guide to Online Dating: Set Your BS Tolerance to Zero." So
yeah,
she's perfect for the show. Everyone, welcome Ariel.
Hey.
Here she comes.
Hey, ladies. How's it going? Yeah, you said my name right. It was great.
Well, sometimes I forget people's names, and then I said your name just so quickly without even reading it. And I thought, oh crap, did I say somebody else's name? Anyway, that's something I would easily do.
So the way that we met was we were on a Clubhouse Shoot Your Shot.
Yeah,
And
yes.
the dating thing.
We didn't like the men that were on there, but we liked each other.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Which is true story. We were like, these men are fucked up. I'm not going to date one person off of here.
Do you think people are meeting through Shoot Your Shot?
Yeah. So I back channeled Ariel because she shot her shot towards some douche guy that wasn't available, and I knew he wasn't available.
I actually know this story. You told me this.
And he's not a douche, to be quite frank.
It's
Great
okay.
guy. But we know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
And I back channeled her and said, "Hey, don't take that personally. He's a dating coach, and he's a wonderful dating coach. He's just here to help people, but you just didn't know that." And then we just hit it off. And Ariel actually has a podcast too. What's your podcast called?
It's called Woman Power Zone, and it's a women's empowerment podcast.
Yeah, she had me on as a guest. Yes. And it was so much fun. I had a blast. So I was like, you have to be on this show, girl.
Oh, yeah. And it totally fits with what you guys are talking about, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote down some questions. Janice and I are wanting to get into this. So you've been doing this stuff for a long time. What's your main thing? Do you mainly work with empaths and spiritual helpers, or are you helping clients with tarot and psychic readings? What's your real deal these days?
Well, the thing is, it's like a circle. Instead of the circle of trust, it's a circle of needs. So, sometimes I'm with empaths, sometimes I'm with clients that just need issues, but I'll have people come in and they're like, I can't get rid of my ex. And so because I'm an energy worker, I'm like, you still have his penis inside of your vagina energetically. We need to disengage.
We need to get that out.
We need to get that out. We need to extract
one. So that is one type of group that I help. I help people who can't let go, or people that need to move forward in their lives. And one area is dating for sure. So a lot of times I'm helping people look at those issues.
Well, Ariel, you don't know this, but Janice is a breakup coach. Yeah. And she also has X-Files podcast where she talks about, breakup and moving on and helping yourself. But
love it.
Tell me,
cutting. So
and cord cutting. So tell us the difference, not Janice, I'm sorry, Ariel, between cord cutting and cord release. Is that what you said?
Cord releasing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is, and I didn't bring my chart, but imagine everybody has an aura, right?
Everybody has an aura.
They have these energy cords. They're called bioplastic streamers. You emanate those out of your energy field and in to touch the energy field or the chakras of the other person. Okay. Those structures are like arms and legs. And I know 99% of the teachers out there teach cord cutting. I know it's a traditional teaching, but I got this 25 years ago from my guides. They're like, no, because that cuts arms and legs. And I've had to go back and repair damage with somebody who had a cord cutting. I had to repair the cord and then teach them to disengage the energy.
I can see
the field. Okay, because our cords are structures like arms and legs. So you can remove your cords from someone and clean them up as you remove them. And then you can remove their energy out of your field because you're sovereign being and you get to choose what's in your space. And then you get to remove their energy out of your energy system, your body, your energy system, and your auric field. And you can send it back to them because you can control that because it's in your space. You can kick it out, you can clean it up, and then you can offer it to them. and send that to them, and then give them the ability to do with it what they will. But that way you don't damage yourself and you don't damage them. So it's a clean way to disengage. And I'm not judging anybody who does cord cutting. I'm just saying this is a clean, crisp way to terminate that connection. And then so you can move on with what you want to do in your life.
And can you explain why this might be so important during or after a breakup?
Yeah, I love that. That's a great question. Okay, because right, so when people break up, right, you guys have heard the term they tore my heart out. What they're literally describing is there was a cording attachment in the heart chakra, and that other person ripped out the attachment and sucked their energy back into themselves, but they pulled the person's energy with it. And so now the reason why women or whoever feels like they can't let go is because some of their energy has been sucked into the other person, and they're not in control of it. They need to get their control back. They need to clean it up, disengage, and bring it back in and reclaim their life force energy.
I love that.
I mean, that's the energetic level. Now, I'm not talking psychologically or like, how it affects them psychologically, or if it affects their resilience or their ability to, their self-confidence. That's all psychological stuff. I'm just talking about the energetic piece of it. I hope that makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense, but we're going to.
But you think that the disengagement is a choice on the part of the heartbroken person?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because what they do is they reclaim their life force energy. Yeah. So I take them through the process of reclaiming their life force and cleaning it up so it's not connected to that other person's energy, disengaging, cleaning it, purifying it, transmuting it, and then bringing that back into themselves. It's like a mini soul retrieval.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Soul retrievals are basically when people's energy leaves their body and goes somewhere else. It's either on the astral plane, the lower levels, the middle levels, or the upper levels. It's somewhere that's not in them. So this is a way of taking some of their energy and bringing it back into themselves. They're immediately going to feel more empowered because their life force is back. And then they decide, do I want to continue to be with this person or not? Is this a good choice? Is this healthy? Does this make sense for me?
I do something that's kind of along that path, but it's not exactly what you're talking about, but I understand it because of it. So I can tell when somebody needs something in their energy or they've got something in it that needs to be removed. So I can go in and I can remove a negative energy, and then I can also take some of what I have and put it there, and it's my choice to put it there. It's my choice to give them positivity or an energetic level that I know that they need, and kind of give that to them. And it doesn't take away from me because I'm not giving something away that's literally of me personally. It's just of my energy, but giving it freely really takes my energy level and the only other way I can even imagine saying it right now is taking my energy level up by giving it.
So what's happening is, and there are different types of chi. There's organ chi, there's chi, the chest, which protects you. There's your personal life force, your shen or your spirit. And there's universal chi. So Christine, what you're really doing is you're actually channeling universal chi through you. It opens your chakras. You send it to them. That's why you don't feel tired. And the reason why you feel more energized is because your chakras are more open because you just brought universal chi through you. And that's why you're actually flowing more chi through you, and you're flowing universal chi through you. So you have more energy for yourself.
See, I just knew that I had this. I just had no idea what it was or how to even, or where it was coming from. I love that. So I do have a question for you. I know that you're an intuitive, which I am as well. You're an empath, which I am as well. But you're also dating. So I know what that was like for me. I'd love to know what that is like for you.
Well, let's just say I literally use my intuition to create a vetting process, which is really simple. First of all, I ask certain questions, but I have certain questions And I have certain parameters set in place, and they're so easy because you can get rid of so many men by asking some basic questions. Things like, or setting a parameter. I don't do long distance dating. That's going to get rid of your scammers, right? You're gonna say, I'd like to meet you for an actual date in person. That's going to get rid of lazy people, and that's going to get rid of the people that want to show up to your house for sex, right? And then you're going to ask them things like, because they always bring up sex. So you're going to say, I use protection. I use condoms. That's going to get rid of another 95%.
95.
Maybe 99.
Oh, that's a sad state of affairs.
It gets rid of men so fast. If you talk about sexual health, like, so do you have STIs? When's the last time you got checked? So it's so easy. You ask for a date. You say you want to meet in person. You say you want to use condoms if you do have sex, and you ask them what their sexual health is like. Those 4 basic things, and most of that screens out so many people. So use my intuition to develop screening questions. Yeah. Right. And
exactly.
And you can get rid of so many people just by asking those basic questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do find that's exactly 100%. I agree with that. I found that was some basic things when I would ask or I would talk about, they would just like disappear. And I'm like, okay, thank you for removing that from my energy.
Right.
How is this intuitive though?
This also how it feels too.
What did you say, Janice?
How does this relate to intuition though? Because these are very practical questions.
Correct. Okay, so there are 2 things here. You can use intuition for very practical things. Like what questions to ask on a date so you know someone's going to be fit for you. You can also use intuition to the end of the. So when you're talking with people online, you can feel how conversing with them online makes you feel. So that's tuning into the energy of the connection. But intuition can be used for practical things too. Very practical things. As a matter of fact, actually, believe it or not, that's an advanced use of intuition.
Well, I mean, I use it certainly with like what if I'm going to take a job or a client, for sure. In my professional life, I use it a lot. But I guess it can transfer.
Romance. It applies to romance too, because so your higher self and the clients or whoever, sorry, not the client, the other person's higher self have a conversation when you guys are texting each other. And you can scan the other person's energy to get a sense if they're a fit or not, right? So you can scan them and get a sense. And then what you could do is by asking practical questions on an earth plane level and seeing how they respond and seeing how the energy feels when they respond. So when you ask them a question, you feel what it feels like when they answer you. And if you feel like they're shutting you down, they're making excuses, they're not telling you the truth, it's not straightforward, it's not clean, then you know something's off or something's on. Something feels good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that when people get involved in dating, okay, and they start spending more time with somebody, and as time goes on, there's a facade that a lot of people wear where they are trying to be something that they're not, and they can't sustain it for a long time. And I think that a lot of people have this ability to sense or feel that something could be off, and then they start making excuses though for them. And I really want people to understand that they should not be making excuses. They should really be paying attention to what their body's feeling, what their mind is thinking, what their heart is doing, because people tend to fake a lot. And they can't hold that up for long, 2 weeks, a month. And I think that this kind of comes in with the love bombing. This is kind of a thing that comes with it, is that when someone starts love bombing you to suck you in really fast, that it tends to try to make you override your thoughts, your feelings, your intuition. Am I not right?
I agree with you. And then you'll feel it, because if you feel like they're bullshitting you, you'll feel this. There's an energy that deception carries, a certain vibrational frequency that deception has, where something doesn't feel right. It feels off. It feels like it's incomplete or it's not flowing. And you can feel that inside of your body mind. You can feel the sensation It's something's not quite right.
Right.
And you Christine, what you're speaking to is the shadow starts showing up, and it's usually 90 days, right? You've heard that before, but it's actually true that people's unprocessed subconscious thoughts, feelings, and fears materialize in about 3 months, and some people sooner. I mean, I'm glad you said something about it, because it's true. It's real. It comes up for sure. Yeah.
I found recently with my situation, I've done a lot of work on me and I've really progressed, I think. But I haven't been in a real relationship in a really long time. So there were certain things that just didn't exist anymore because I wasn't experiencing it. And I found that when I have somebody that I'm seeing now, and we are, building a relationship. And I noticed that some of those things that I thought I'd work through is not true. Just because the absence of it made me feel like I'd, really succeeded at getting rid of that. Let's just say jealousy, that can creep back up, and I've been experiencing that.
I go on. I have something too that's recent.
And I find that didn't go away just because I thought I'd work through it. I didn't really work through it. But what I have found is that in this relationship that I'm in, is that he is really being loving and patient and respectful of that. And he's working through it with me, not just getting upset or assuming that I'm thinking he's going to cheat, or that's not the situation at all. But I'm just saying, as an example, he's not automatically going, oh, you've got this problem and you've got baggage and you've got
you don't trust me.
You don't trust me. And, I didn't do anything wrong. He's not doing that at all. He's being incredibly loving and patient and saying, look, you obviously have had this happen to you in the past, and let's work through it. Let's try to get through this. Let's see what we can do together, which, that, and that's what I intuitively felt with him before that even happened. And now he's showing me that I was right. So you were going to say something, Janice?
I mean, I will go off what you just said, and that's just such a good example of, someone kind of leading in a loving, appropriate, respectful way is what it sounds like he's doing, which I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
You were going to say something, Janice, about something that's come up recently.
Oh yeah, just a pattern. I also, it sounds like your pattern might be, insecurity and fears around, if the person is committed. Whereas my pattern is I am so addicted to the chemicals, and when someone starts wooing me and the feeling that I get, and when someone's pursuing me, especially if I'm attracted to them, I lose, my rationale. And I found that I've done that recently, and it scares me because this is something that I've also tried to work on for years. And I find that, no matter how much work I do, I can still slip back into it easily. And that's why, Ariel, I'm not sure if you heard Christine and I speaking when you were in the green room, but that's why I was saying, to me, I want to use my head more when I'm dating rather than my intuition, because I know that I can confuse the two so easily.
I think it's a challenge to use both of those things. Okay. Janice, I want to say, this is my positive reframe. Isn't it great that you're finding people that are so hot that you get all discombobulated? Like, it's not always easy to find people that are that attractive that you actually feel that way. So how wonderful is that? But
there's some good points to it for sure. Yes. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Right. But I mean, it's a balance. It's a balance of, like you said, it's a balance of, how do you feel? But because emotions are transitory, right? Then there's your guiding morals or your guiding values, whatever you want to use. Those are your principles that guide you in your life, or what you're wanting to create in your life, right? And then there's how they show up. And how do they show up? Are they meeting those principles, or whatever? Are they in alignment with your values and principles, right?
Can you say that one more time? You had a little list, and girl, I'm writing it down in my notebook.
I'm just channeling it, so I'll go. Okay. Channeling. So there's like the chemicals, there's the chemistry, right? So those are your hormones, right?
Yep.
There's that physical stuff, right? Sometimes there's the energy, how their energy makes you feel, right? Then there's your guiding principles or your values, like what you want to have in your life, what kind of relationship you want to have, who that person is. Like, so it's like what you want you to create for yourself. And then there's who they show up as. And there's who they present when you first meet them. And then there's who the shadow is after you've known them for a while, which is what Christine was talking about a few minutes ago. Because there's also our wishes and desires. And that's where women fall short a lot of time, because we have our wishes and we see who they could be versus who men really are, or whoever the other person is. But I'm talking from a straight perspective because I'm straight. So I'll just say that. But men will tell you who they are, and women have to believe that. And a lot of women don't want to believe that men are who they say they are.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're simple creatures. We're easy. This is what I'm about. And a lot of us ladies want to try to change them or see them as bigger or better than they actually are. And that's one of our shadowy tendencies. We need to let men just be who they are and recognize that and appreciate and value that, right? And let them be who they really are without our putting our own little thing on it. So, because, so it is a balance. I mean, the compatibility you mentioned, Janice, like, I'm a single mom, right? So I have to date somebody who's eventually going to be okay with meeting my kid, because that's a very basic thing. If I want to have a relationship, eventually, like in a year, they're going to meet my kid. Not right away, but if they hate children, I'm not going to date that. That's a pretty easy one.
Right? How good it feels.
Yeah.
No matter how good it feels, they're just going to be an FWB. They're not relationship material. Like, yeah, they can be hot, but that's just a lover. That's not a relationship if they hate children. For me, as an example.
We have a listener who has asked a question. Phil says, so if I'm a little low on confidence, you're suggesting that I be honest about that with someone rather than try to act more confident.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
This particular person asked good questions.
He does. We like Phil. Phil's a great guy.
Well, it really depends who he's asking, who he's communicating to.
Yeah.
Because it depends on how evolved that person is. If they're evolved, yeah, he can be honest that he's low in confidence, and then they could appreciate his honesty. If they're not evolved, they could judge him for saying he's not confident. You know what I'm saying? They could see that as a negative thing instead of appreciating his honesty about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy I just went on a date with who was totally about him and computers and all this intellectual stuff. And then he didn't even speak to me for 3 days. And then 3 days later, he calls me and he's like, I want to see you again. I said, you were attracted to me? Yeah. You didn't say anything about me. It was all about computers. Yeah. Well, I was nervous and anxious. I'm like, really? And I told him, I said, you might want to consider working with an intimacy coach, because who you were on the inside, acting like you're all attracted to me, and who you were on the outside, these things did not match.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I've had that. You know what I would say? Here's my suggestion to Phil for that. Let's see if I can get across what I'm thinking. Lead with confidence. Behave with confidence. Okay. But when you start getting to know this person and you're talking to them, and you're talking about life and yourself, maybe then say, I've had issues with confidence in the past. I've really worked hard to be confident. But if ever the time that I may seem lacking in, it's not because I'm not, it's because I'm still working on me.
I'd probably also say that this isn't like first date conversation, but more as you're getting to know someone and opening up about different things. Yeah, you're right.
I think what you guys said was fantastic. I mean, if I were coming from a manifesting point of view, I'd say, Phil, act like you're confident, because confidence is one of the things that makes you sexy.
Yeah.
And if you're not acting, women are not going to be attracted to you. So even if you're not, fake it till you make it, buddy. That's
I was going to ask both of you what you thought about fake it until you make it, because in certain aspects of dating, I do think that it helps to create a body memory, and your system gets used to acting confident. And then, yes, that is like pure manifesting.
Oh,
like setting your stage for what it would look like.
Yeah.
Well, you have to desensitize yourself from the anxiety of meeting somebody new. And so you do. So if you keep repeating that behavior over and over again of just acting like you're confident every time you meet somebody new, eventually you just will be. You'll desensitize yourself. You won't be anxious or nervous anymore. Not like you were in the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
And
I don't think that it's misleading somebody or being something that, like what I talked about earlier, where I said people are behaving as if what did I say? I said something about somebody behaving as if they're not who they are. That's different from what we're just talking about. What I meant before was someone absolutely hates golf, but yet they go golfing with somebody for the first 3 dates, and then they get this person to fall for them, and then they go, you know what? I don't like golfing. I hate golfing. And you know what I mean? But this person really wanted somebody who golfed. Or say, you're welcome, Phil. And thank you for always asking great questions. You can ask away. Or say somebody is maybe a recovering alcoholic and they have been on the wagon for 15 plus years or 10 years or 5 years or whatever. And they say they really would like to date somebody who isn't a drinker. And then somebody pretends they don't drink for a while. And then next thing you know, they're out on a date 6-10 dates later, and they start drinking. And they're like, that's what I meant by that. What we're talking about now is, you know what, when you are trying to be a very confident, supportive, loving person, when you're being those things, you're practicing, you're getting better at it, you're getting stronger at it, you're getting more confident, all these things. That's different.
Well, self-improvement is something that you must be doing, I think, if you want to attract someone great. And I think something like becoming more confident is the perfect self-improvement goal.
Yeah. So forgive me, guys. I had COVID. What was it? About a month ago. And I have this issue with memory, and I'm having issues with putting sentences together and sounding like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I'm really struggling today. I don't know what the hell is going on.
I'll jump in with a question. So everything that you've made or that you said to me makes sense. Conceptually, but as far as the tools that you use to go about helping people work through these things, what does it actually look like?
Yeah, that's great.
So some of them are like basic things like getting grounded, which there are a lot of ways people do that, but I teach a couple different techniques for grounding. I teach centering. So grounding gets you in your body so you can feel what's going on in your own body. If you can feel what's in your body, you can feel how you feel when you talk to or interact or date somebody. If you can feel in your body how you feel, your body's going to let you know if it likes somebody. Does your mind like them? Does your heart like them? Or does your pussy like them? Because you need to be aware of all the different parts of you. And I mean, I'm simplifying, but you get the gist. If your mind like, oh, they went to the same school I did, great. My heart, oh, they're sensitive and caring, great. If your pussy's like, no, thank you, you're not getting anywhere near me, you better listen to that because people who are in long-term relationships with people they're not sexually attracted to can develop health issues when they don't listen. So you got to be grounded to hear what's going on in the physical stuff, your mind, your heart, and your vagina, right? And energetically, like centering means connecting with your soul or your spirit. So that kind of gives you a feeling of, sometimes we create soul contracts to meet people. And when you're in touch with that energy, you can tell if there's a soul contract when you meet somebody. There's a really powerful connection and it feels deeper than your casual meeting. And you can feel that. So that's like a soul kind of situation. And then I also use the violet flame. It's a flame. It's violet. Imagine so I have a crystal here. It's purple, right? It's got the elements of the violet. Isn't that fun?
That's beautiful.
So imagine a flame that's that color, and that flame transmutes negative energy. And you can literally pass it through and around your energy field or your body. So like if you're ever dating and talking to someone and you feel like you got slimed, you can violet flame yourself to clear your energy.
Oh.
And then I teach them the courting release, the thing I was talking about earlier. I teach a courting release for people so that when they interact with somebody and it's not going well, they need to disengage. I teach them tools on how to do that. If they're a Reiki student, I can teach them some aspects of Reiki that work with that too. And then there's some other things I do that are related to that person's specific situation. But those are some basic tools I start with just to get people going so that they have something that they can use when they're working with people.
I love that.
Oh, great. Super.
Yeah. I love that. I found in my experience in dating that I have been intellectually, mentally, and emotionally connected to somebody, but physically it's not there.
I just was going to ask about the opposite. When my pussy is so often like, yeah, and but the mind goes away.
Well, I had that about a year ago. I had met somebody and on and off. Well, we never dated. we were friends with benefits. Let's just say that. Yeah, bow wow. It was really hot and heavy. It was all sexual, but I did not like him any other
As
way.
a person. You didn't like him as a person.
No, he was hot and he was great, but he was not great in other ways. And he kept saying to me, which was so stupid, it drove me insane. He kept saying, "You're not allowed to fall in love with me." And I would look at him and I'd say, "What the fuck ever made you think I would fall in love with you?"
It's so narcissistic.
I know,
totally. Trying to use
I was done.
psychology. What the hell? You know, I oh my God, I kind of want to say something, Janice, if you don't mind. I want to jump in. How do you, okay, yeah, your pussy likes them. She's like, yeah, they're nice. Get in here. Get in there and jump around. I like that. And then how do you feel after you've had that? Like after you've had sex with them, how do you feel about them or yourself afterwards? And I'm thinking like, what are the thoughts that are going through your mind? Like,
well, first of all, I don't have too many sexual encounters right now, despite being very pussy led. But I think what I notice is that it's like I said earlier, it's the chemistry that really drives me to want to connect more with a man. And so I think if there are little things, I will push them aside more and then get to know the person more. And then kind of decide that it's not for me and realize that I was being driven in the beginning more by my pussy than my brain.
Oh yeah. Well, for a lot of women with high sex drive, it's not hard to do. I mean, for some ladies, I actually, and you probably already know this, Janice, but just for the audience, I tell ladies masturbate first, just like with the men. I tell them the same thing. Take the edge off so that the energy isn't in space, and then you can make a bit more of a cognitive decision.
Okay, I do these things. Okay, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I do these tests. Yeah. So years ago, I heard that if you take vanilla and put it on your like you would perfume, that it generated the kind of this thing in men where they felt comfort and home, you know, kind of like baking vanilla in your kitchen.
Cookies, yeah.
Exactly.
The mom thing, yeah.
So I did a series of dates where I would do it and not do it just to see if it worked. And it does. Then I decided I was going to try this whole series where I would masturbate before and not masturbate and see if there would be a connection. Yeah, it backfired. Because all the ones that I didn't want at all after on the date where I had already masturbated, they must have been smelling all of that lovely stuff. And they were like, and I was like, no.
Of course they would be.
And then the ones that I didn't, they would be all like kind of standoffish. It wouldn't be a connection. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I cannot do this again. This is like, I'm getting psychos following me.
That's a very valid point, Christine. You know, dating is trial and error.
Jason said, do you masturbate before the show to see how it goes and then test without doing it? I think that's the problem. Last week I did, and it was a great show. Today, even though it was a great show, I can't fucking talk, so I should have beforehand.
You're doing fine.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that's funny.
Oh, we're nuts.
Good tip, however. So you know what though, to be honest, I guess doing them before a date, I have heard a lot of people say helps for various reasons. But I don't know, I meet people when I'm out and about so much. And then, I'll have a conversation and already be like, oh baby, I'm feeling it,
Yeah. That's when you say, excuse me, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, put my little womanizer in my wallet.
Do they have a mini womanizer, a teeny one?
It's not this big.
Well, and Janice, the only thing I could think of is, I would those vetting questions, like literally developing using your intuition to develop vetting questions, because if you think they're hot, as soon as you ask those questions, if they're not a fit for you, whatever those questions are for you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm writing myself a note. What are my vetting questions?
What are they? Because they will vanish. If they're confronted by your vetting questions, they will vanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably
And
right.
so that'll solve your problem. What's that song? There's one less problem without you. That's without you.
I got 99 problems, but a pathological liar ain't one.
Right. That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. So Ariel, tell me, you have a book that's coming out. When's it coming out? What's it called? And tell us a little about it.
Don't I wish I could tell you? So I'm gonna text you the pre-order link. It's because I have a pre-order link. I'm still in the middle of editing because I keep getting sent new material by guys. All these crazy things that guys do online. I had literally last week had a guy. The first thing out of his mouth is, "I want to come over and go down on you."
How did he spell come?
Yeah, right. So I'm still adding. I'm doing edits. Then I'm gonna format it, and then I'm gonna put it out. So
Great.
I'm gonna guess it might take a single mom time, probably a few more months. I have 175 pages written, but I just need to do a few more top offs and a little bit more research. But I can give you. I'm gonna pop in. I'm gonna grab a link, and I'm gonna pop it in so the you guys can pop it up there.
Perfect.
And then that way we'll have that link so you guys can have that.
Yeah, make sure you email that to me too, or text it to me, and I'll put it in the show link, the show notes,
yes.
For the future stuff. And then also tell us how people can book you for cord releasing, for tarot reading, for psychic stuff, because you're really amazing. And I loved my time with you. I think I need to book one again because a lot has changed in my life since then.
And it's all virtual, or it's virtual, right?
Yeah, it's virtual. Mm-hmm. So
yes, it's virtual. So people can text me. That was the 971-319-2618. That's the best way to reach me. People, I would love to work with anybody that wants to work with me. I can do it by Zoom. I can do it by phone. So all of those are options. If they're in the Seattle area, they can meet with me in person. And then they need to be patient though, just because I'm booking about a month in advance. But I would love to help people. I have a lot of experience doing this. I've been doing it a long time. So I'd love to help people. Yeah. And still getting that link for you. And I'll get it for you for the show notes too.
Okay. 100%. And our producer, Jason, everybody hears us talk about him every week. We really love Jason. And I'm sad he's going to be leaving us. Today is our last episode. And Gabby is going to be mad that she did not decide to co-host today, biatch, because today's Jason's last day. And Jason was I know it is her fault. It was Gabby's birthday yesterday, and she chose to go on a dinner with friends tonight.
Do you need to do a cord cutting with Jason?
Yeah, I think I do.
Disengagement. But
Jason's like, Jason's like, I could use her help. Everybody could use your help. So, but the worst part about the time, I'm squinting to see the time. I think I need glasses now. Is that we're out of it, which sucks. So I want to say a quick thank you to everybody. First of all, for coming and listening and joining in today. Phil, for asking your awesome questions. Jason, for being an incredible producer. We're going to miss you. DJ's our new producer. Welcome, DJ. Thank you for being here today, too. Janice, I love you. I can't thank you enough for always being an incredible co-host with me.
I love it.
Ariel, you're awesome. I definitely want to have you back and talk more about some other things that I know we can talk about. You're so much fun, and I can't wait to have you back. And everyone, until next week, same time, same place, keep it real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and